Good evening. Welcome to FRC Media News for Thursday, February 8th. I'm Donna Mata. Tonight's roundup includes reaction from a school committee member concerning the construction of a new Durfee High School, which he gave following this week's City Council meeting. A reminder to Fall River residents to fill out the latest census forms now being sent in the mail, and details on a new location for the Fall River Old Colony Railroad Museum. But first, let's check in with digital news editor Will Richmond at the Herald News to talk about the stories of the week. Welcome, Will.
Hi, Donna. Thanks for having me.
Yes, it's always a pleasure. We could start off with Durfee. It's been in the news. There's a special election March 6th so that the voters could answer the ballot on whether they want to do the debt exclusion. Can you just give us the details of the math?
Sure. Well, at this point, the city is presenting a plan in which about $58 million would be required through debt exclusion. This would mean that on the average home in the city, you'd see about an annual increase of $115 to your tax bill. So, that will obviously change depending on the value of your property. That's what they're going with now. There is some talk that this will not go on for the 30 years that the bond would be sought for, as other projects come off of the city's bonding requirements, bonding costs. They would then shed back, or be able to have the ability to put those costs into the operating budget, rather than requiring it to be a separate line item to be paid by taxpayers. So at this point, that's the numbers the city is working with. We still await the very final approval from the Massachusetts School Building Authority, which is supposed to come next week. But those are the numbers we're working with as we head towards that March 6th election that you mentioned.
And the only city councilor who's against the new Durfee, at least being built on Ellsbury Street, is Steve Camara, correct?
Yes, Councilor Steve Camara has voiced opposition to many parts of it. He is part of a group that is not favorable of the debt exclusion. They want to see these costs borne out strictly through the operating budget, and they have questions about the location and the process in which this was the school was sort of proposed and how they've gotten to this point so far.
Now, do these issues have to be worked out before the March 6th special election?
Well, the election is set, so voters will have to go on the information that is being presented at this point. This is a process that has been taking place for years now. So there are some who say, that this has been rushed at the end, but I think that's because people have only started paying attention as it's reached the city council portion of this process. But this has been a long-standing process. So the information is out there. We'll continue to be looking into more information as well, as I'm sure you guys are doing. And, but yes, that vote is set. So, people will go with the information they have when they head to the ballot box on March 6th.
And there will also be no summary of the pros of the yes and the cons and that sort of thing on the ballot. It will strictly be that one question, and that was made clear by Board of Elections Chairwoman Liz Camara when I talked to her earlier this week. All right, moving on. FROED is back in the news, at least the lawsuit between FROED and the city. Why don't you give us the update on that?
Sure. So the two sides were back in court this week. Previously, FROED's lawyers had sought to obtain documentation, copies of documents regarding correspondences between the mayor and city administrator Kathy Ann Viveris that were done through emails and text messages. The city has been in the process of archiving that information, doing forensic audits in order to collect those documents, and has so far come up with about 33,000 pages of documents that they are reviewing. So in court, those numbers were revealed this week. Though the latest aspect of it is that Corporation Counsel Joe Macy is looking to make all of those documents confidential, citing the concerns about personal information that may be in them, as well as information that just should not be made public as far as he's concerned.
Yes, and that's the key as far as he's concerned, because of course there's the Freedom of Information Act, and from what I understand, Joe is just trying to keep some of the issues out of the public eye. However, Froed's attorneys could get a hold of it. Is that right?
Well, not only Froed's attorneys, but the public as well. We previously had filed a public records request related to these documents, as well as the cost of what this process it will cost to the city. That is information that we've been trying to gather along the way as well. It's a situation. The mayor was using a private email address to conduct public business. If public and private email sort of intersected there, that's the danger of using a private email address for public business as well. So, there is some fault if you want to take that process into your own hands.
And a decision has to be made in a week.
Right, they'll be back in court. As of the last, we had checked in with the judge. That had not been filed with the court yet, but he was planning to make that filing, and then the judge would have to rule on whether or not those documents would become confidential or not.
And I'm sure you will report that in the paper as soon as you get that information. And moving right along to South Coast Rail, I know we've been talking about this, it seems like forever. However, I have talked recently to Department of Transportation Project Director for South Coast Rail, Jean Fox, and she says that she's very close, or not she, but the department is very close to getting all the permits and paperwork done to actually get that rail up and coming. What information do you have?
Yeah, well, this week the Massachusetts Department of Transportation filed its draft environmental impact report for review with the Massachusetts Environmental Protection Agency. So that process is underway as well. They began revealing some of the latest expected ridership numbers, the time numbers, and in terms of travel time. And so they're moving forward with those kinds of documents. This has spurred some optimism amongst people. You mentioned, the rail's project manager, Jean Fox's optimism. And then just this morning at the monthly Froed board meeting, Froed Executive Vice President Ken Fiola expressed his optimism that this project is moving along and may actually become a reality. Still remain skeptical on some points, but we'll see what happens here.
Well, besides the paperwork, there's, of course, the environmental impact projects and reports, and all that has to be done before you can actually get the railroad up and operational. So time will only tell, I suppose. All right, what's coming up this weekend, or this week, I should say, in the Herald News?
Sure, coming this weekend, we've got a couple of Q&A interviews with the two top lawmen in our area, the new police chief, Al Dupere, and District Attorney Tom Quinn. So as Chief Dupere is just starting, Tom Quinn is actually looking for his first full re-election term as well. So catching up with the top lawmen in our area this weekend. Very
good. All right, well, it was a pleasure talking to you, Will, and you'll see Keith next week.
All right, have a good weekend, Donna.
You too. Thank you, Will. We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Schools will be closed in Fall River February 19th through the 23rd for winter vacation. Here are some community activities that children can enjoy that week. The Fall River Public Library is hosting several special events at its main branch at 104 North Main Street. On Tuesday, February 20th, the library hosts a Snowy Owl craft and story time from 1 to 2 p.m. Children ages 3 and up are invited to hear the story Owl Babies and make their very own snowy owl using feathers and paper tubes. On Wednesday, February 21st, Animal Instincts Aquarium and Pet Shop will present a Wild Winter live animal show. Meet furry, feathery, and scaly pets and learn how they survive during the winter. The show will take place from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. and is recommended for children ages 4 and up. On Thursday, February 22nd, children ages 6 and up can make a snowflake charm bracelet with beads and charms and watch a short animated film based on the book Brave Irene by William Steig. This event will be held from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. On Friday, February 23rd, from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., children are invited to play Storybook Bingo, a game of bingo with a storybook character twist. Books and other prizes will be awarded. Admission to the library events is free. For more information, go to fallriverlibrary.org. Incorporated is offering 2 evening events during school vacation, a family bowling night and a family movie night. On Tuesday, February 20th, families with a DDS eligible member can enjoy a light dinner and bowling at AMF Lanes in Somerset, starting at 5 o'clock p.m. On Thursday, February 22nd, DDS eligible adults 18 years and older and their families are invited for pizza, popcorn, and a screening of the Lego Ninjago movie. This event takes place from 5 to 7 p.m. at 4 South Main Street in Fall River. Space is limited at both People Incorporated events, and attendees must RSVP by February 13th. Call 774-488-5332. On Saturday, February 24th, Battleship Cove presents You Sunk My Battleship, a nautical and World War II gaming day. Watch professional and hobby gamers play popular nautical and WW2 games, or compete yourself in board game tournaments of Battleship and Risk. Video game stations will be set up for free play. This event will take place from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at 5 Water Street in Fall River. For more information, call 508-678-1100.
Welcome back. Fall River Finance Committee members heard final presentations from the administration and school committee for the proposed new BMC Durfee High School project during its regular session this week. A special election, as I mentioned with will be held March 6th, and the ballot question will ask voters to approve a $58 million debt exclusion in order to help pay for the estimated $260 million construction project. School committee member Paul Coogan, who supports building a new high school, is urging residents not to be too concerned over the final cost.
I don't want people to get hung up on the $260 million. That money, the $163 million that the state is granting us for their 63% share of the project, comes from the MASBO funds. And I never knew where MASBO funds came from till the other day when I was talking to someone about it. What those MASBO funds are set-asides of a 1 penny on every dollar you spend out of the 6.5% sales tax. So the money's kept in a rolling fund for schools across the state of Massachusetts to be repaired or built. In this cycle, we were one of 13 communities that got approved for funding out of the 132 that applied. So everybody in the state, Lynn, Springfield, Saugus, they're all looking for this money. Fall River was fortunate enough to be awarded that grant.
It's time once again for Fall River residents to fill out the annual census now being mailed to the registered voters in the city. Board of Election Chairwoman Liz Camara stresses the importance of completing the census, especially since if the forms are not updated, there's a possibility that residents who thought they could vote in the March 6th special election may not be able to if their information is not up to date.
We're working with a vendor too on the census and getting the forms printed. We're still working that out with them. And in the meantime, we've already sent census out to housing, to the nursing homes, different apartment buildings. So they're starting to respond. And right now we are working on housing. So we'll get as much as we can done before the election, because once February 14th comes, that's the deadline to make changes and to register to vote and to change your address. So we're trying to get what we can done before the election so we can get people in their proper places if they've moved in the past year.
In other news, the Narrows Center for the Arts in Fall River has moved a portrait exhibit that Diamond and UMass Dartmouth students created to the staircase at Government Center. The exhibit can be viewed from the 1st to 6th floors and sponsored in part by Mass in Motion, a nonprofit agency that focuses on encouraging area residents to live a more healthy lifestyle. FRC Media News starts this story off with a portion of a recent national address U.S. Representative Joseph Kennedy gave at Diamond when he mentioned that Fall River is filled with hardworking residents.
We are here in Fall River, Massachusetts, a proud American city, an American city built by immigrants. From textiles to robots, this is a place that knows how to make great things.
This is a project called Fall River Portraits, and this year the theme is Making Things. We collaborated between Diamond Vocational and UMass Dartmouth to create a photographic portrait of the businesses in Fall River. And we covered over 25 locally owned businesses that make anything from nuts and bolts to shirts to mattresses to dental implants.
So these are current businesses?
Yes, these are all businesses that are currently owned and operated in Fall River.
The first project that Mass in Motion had was starting the Staircase Gallery back in 2010. And then I learned about Andrea's project. And from then on, the shows have been coming up here from the Narrows, and we've been very fortunate to have them. And this is such a great space to show them, a public place for the public to be able to view this interesting story about Fall River, and at the same time using the stairs. And it's the middle of winter, and I want to invite everyone to come on down here, and whether you walk up 1 or 2 flights, whether you take the elevator to the 6th and walk down, you get to see the history of current manufacturing in Fall River and its incredible workers, as well as getting some exercise. You'll feel good about it. You'll come back and do it again.
And Julie does say if you'd like to walk up those stairs, that's okay too. We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
So this week on Hot Dogs and Cool Cats, we have this beautiful little bunny. We believe that she is a lop bunny. This is Aurora. She has been with us for quite a bit of time. She's been overlooked constantly, and she's actually a pretty pleasant bunny. So poor Aurora came to us in about 3 inches of her own feces. So this poor girl hasn't had the best life, but we're glad that she's here now. We took her to the vet. She has a clean bill of health besides for an ear infection that she is being treated for now. And it is getting better. So if you are interested in this sweet little girl Aurora, please come in and visit her and hold her and give her some attention like she so much loves. We're located at 300 Linwood Avenue, right at the end. We're open every day 11 to 4, besides for Wednesdays.
Today we have Michigan. He is a 1.5-year-old male pit bull. He's very rambunctious, but he knows how to calm down, and he's very gentle with treats. Just because of his excitement and jumpiness sometimes, we do recommend him being at home with no children or children 13 or older, at least. But he's a really good boy. He gets along with other dogs, so if you have another dog in the home, that would be fine with him. If you want to come see him, we're at 300 Linwood Street, Fall River, Mass. We are open to the public every day but Wednesday, 11 to 4. Good boy.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Fall River Career Center. Respiratory therapist. Lincare, located at 221 Weaver Street, is looking for a full-time respiratory therapist responsible for setting up highly technical equipment and providing patient education according to the patient's needs. Job number 1016-1247. Technician. Orkin Pest Control, a pest management service for both residential and commercial customers, is looking for a full-time technician to join their team in the Fall River area. Job number 1015-7324. Behavioral Consultant. Advocates is looking for a full-time behavioral consultant to provide clinical consultation to individuals with developmental disabilities and their families, residential programs, vocational programs, and schools as referred by the Department of Developmental Services. Job number 1016-1609. Kindred Healthcare, located at 273 Oak Grove Avenue, is looking to fulfill the following full-time positions. Area Vice President of Sales, job number 1016-4411. Hospice Aide, job number 1016-4233. Stanley Street Treatment and Resources, located at 386 Stanley Street, is looking to fulfill the following full-time positions. Night shift, LPN, job number 1014-8159. Night shift, RN, job number 1014-8154. For more information on these or other positions, visit jobquest.detma.org or call the Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. The Fall River Old Colony Railroad Museum moved from the city's waterfront to a new location, the Fall River Children's Museum on North Main Street. Children's Museum Executive Director Joanne Sprague allowed the train display to be set up in the basement of her building. While there is a separate admission charge to view the display, Railroad Museum President Jade Chatterton is grateful for the space.
What I did with all of this is I'm more into doing the buildings and making it my little kingdom, per se. It's about scale. It's like you look in spots, like I said, there's campfire with a couple of hobos. It's actually flickering, and there's a dance hall on one section. There's people dancing in it. I put a floor in it and lights. There's a bar that has little scale bars, stools. It's got beer bottles, and it's also got beer glasses. Now, you're talking a scale of HO is 1 inch equals 87 inches, or 1 foot equals 87 feet. So a beer bottle is approximately, we'll give it a foot maybe. So in scale, it's about 1/8 of an inch tall. So you go from a beer bottle, it's 12 inches or a foot, into scale about 1/8 inch. They're sitting on the bar in that thing. There's fire trucks, and there's a police car with the lights flashing. There's even the work barrels, construction barrels that everybody knows about. Little lights are flashing on that too. Don likes working on the rail cars. He's got all of these cars, these Amtrak cars. If you look at them, they're all lighted up inside, and there's also people in there. And that, when he did those cars, you're talking a few years ago, they never had painted people. He had to paint. They all come in basic, they're almost pinkish color, and you have to paint the clothes on them. You have to paint pants or skirts or whatever it else is. And he did that. One of those cars has got 100 people sitting in it. So figure out how much time he spent just painting people to put them in there to get them to fit.
The Children's Museum donated the space.
Basically, yeah, they donate the space. You know, we took the care of expenses as far as changing the space over, you know, setting the layout up, and, you know, emergency lighting, and, you know, crash bar and door to get out, you know, stuff like that. But thank God, you know, that they've given us the space. So we've got a space to live in.
Greater Fall River Recreation is offering a wide variety of winter sports programs for area residents, young and old. Recreation Program Director Anne-Marie Holly provides this rundown.
And we have a lot of really great stuff, a lot of new things, a lot of returning programs that a lot of our families love. So we have our normal, like basketball, judo, cheerleading, dance classes, gymnastics classes, and then we've added some enrichment classes. We've actually partnered with Mastermind Adventures, which is in the Swansea Mall, and they do some really interesting stuff. So we have a class called War Machine Physics. So the kids get to learn all about the machines that are used during the wartime, and the mathematics that go along with it, and the science. So some really cool things. Obviously, it'll be understandable for a child. They break it down, and they do a lot of hands-on activities. We actually have a new hula hooping class with them as well that we will have them in our dance recital, which happens on June 8th, I believe, this year. We'll have all of our dance classes, our baton classes, and hopefully if hula hooping takes off, we'll have a hula hooping number in the dance recital as well. We have our arts and crafts with Miss Jess. We have a Girl Scout program that you can sign up, and you get a 16-week program, and you also get to become a Girl Scout, so you get to do all that kind of fun stuff. So a lot of really great programs, great instructors, really, really affordable rate.
Those programs are run throughout the winter. You can call Greater Fall River Recreation for more information. That's it for this edition of FRC Media News. You can catch this program Thursday and Friday at 6 p.m., but our online news site is available 24/7 at frcmedianews.org. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Donna Mata. Have a great week. We'll see you next Thursday.